How is it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, Black Lives Matter, All Cops Are Bastards, and Trans Rights supporting channel. If you don't like that, get the fuck out of here. This is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 17, and we will get to the title in a second. But first, actually, I wanted to talk about last episode with Paradise Lost again. I was, thinking of it from the perspective of the Inhumans being the Adam and Eve, being the humans in that sort of metaphor there. But I think it's now, after having seen the episode and rethinking about the title Paradise Lost, and I also looked up briefly about it, just because it doesn't seem like we're going too much into it. It seems like it was more that episode specifically with Malick thing, where Malick was supposed to be the Adam being, told everything after the Great Flood. Like, that ties in. And the whole in media res thing, instead of it being the vision that Daisy was having, the in media res sort of connection there could have been, this whole time we've been seeing Malick as an old man, and then we cut back to the beginning of it in that episode. It's all been in media res, and then we finally see it from the beginning through the flashbacks. You could kind of see it in that way, maybe. But yeah, so I wanted to touch upon that. And then that would still fit with Ward Alveus being the being Satan. It would still work with that way. And then Eve, I'm not sure what that would be, because I don't necessarily think that would be, his daughter. I don't think that's where we're going with it. I think also I was talking about the original sin. The whole thing of after all that happens with the apple. Like, what is the apple in terms of all this? Who knows? And maybe power in general, like getting him back was the apple or something. I don't know. It's hard to think about that. But the original sin that is being killed off could be his original sin of the everything that happened with his brother. Everything involving that. It's not really one part of it, but all of that could have been his original sin. And killing off his daughter has now, as Ward said, made them even. The slate has been cleaned. His original sin has been killed. Maybe that's what they were going for. Perhaps. So this episode is called The Team. Okay, so yeah, we're seeing, the Secret Warriors team. Is it going to be anybody that we don't know, right? It seems like it's just going to be, if we're counting Sky and Lincoln, if we're counting Daisy and Lincoln, Daisy, Lincoln, Joey, Elena, and I guess Alicia, was that her name? I believe. I think she, maybe she is out of the coma that she was in now, hopefully. But potential on Alicia. Other than that, Mini Mac is not really a part of the Secret Avengers, but he's the only other thing I can, person I can think of that they would call. And, yeah, I can't, there might be some random Inhuman I'm not thinking of that is out there, or, maybe, is the Secret Warriors just Inhumans? Because, what about Mike Peterson? Is he, out there somewhere? We'll see. Let's see what they've got up their sleeve. I don't know what these reactions are going to be from now on, because I am rooting for no one. There is not a single character that I am rooting for at this point. There are characters that I may side with more so than others, but there's not any character that I am fully siding with. And even like Joey and Elena, I like them a little bit, but just barely. Elena I like so more. She is the most anti-S.H.I.E.L.D. character we have in the show, but at the same time, it's hard to take her seriously when she talks about, hating the bureaucracy and hating, organizations like S.H.I.E.L.D. and that. She says that a lot, but then she works for them, so it's like, how am I supposed to really take that seriously? And now Joey has the whole thing going on where he doesn't want to, where he is feeling incredibly guilty for killing Lucio, which, again, I hate this in pretty much every single character who is not Matt Murdock. There is the whole thing like, okay, Lucio was being, swayed under Hive and that, but even aside from that, he is a, corrupt police officer, so fuck him, kill him. But I've been saying kill him from the very beginning he's been introduced in the show, but to be fair, Joey may, he doesn't know that, and it's not like anybody has told him that because they're all terrible people. There's so many people at S.H.I.E.L.D. that could have easily said, like, hey, you don't have to feel any guilt, it's a police officer, or hey, you don't have to feel any guilt, it's a corrupt police officer, even. But, really, like, nobody says, anything, so now he just has to, he just went off on his own and, made himself look suspicious in their crazy eyes because, he was just trying to, he had no one that he could turn to, no one that, would understand. Even all the other people that he could turn to also have the feeling of, I don't want to kill, I feel guilty for having killed somebody like May or Coulson or whatever. So there's nobody that he can really turn to, because anybody that he would try and confide in would just make him feel so much worse for something good he did. So, really shitty situation with that. And yeah, I think this episode was such a, like, I wanted to pull my hair out at so many points, because it was supposed to be a, whodunit mystery sort of episode, but it really, to me, felt so much like the whole episode. I felt like 90% sure that it couldn't have been any of the Inhumans that killed Malick, and it had to have been a misdirect for a human to have killed him. And one of the Inhumans being under control under the sway, but not being the one that killed Malick or was doing any of the things that they were thinking was doing. But aside from that, mainly the reason why I was thinking that was because Elena seemed like the one that was obvious, and also we haven't gone anywhere with that. I don't know what that was. Elena got a gun, but we haven't, she'll assumingly use that next episode, I guess. But yeah, like that's I think what made me, like, from that point on, when Mac was watching the video, I was like, okay, it's obviously not an Inhuman then. There's no way they would show us all the Inhumans being so, unsuspicious, being so normal, and then Mac being like, they're all suspicious, no matter what I look at them, they all look suspicious. And then we see Elena do something insanely suspicious, and then Mac doesn't suspect that. So that made me think, like, okay, they're trying to do some sort of red herring misdirection here. But no, it was Daisy in the end. Again, all the scenes with them all arguing was so hard for me to be invested in a, like, oh, that's a suspicious thing they said. So little. The only thing that felt suspicious and like I was like, okay, it is one of the Humans, is the Elena thing. That's the only thing this whole episode. I mean, Daisy, I gave a free pass to because she's just been so insane these past, 2 seasons that it's hard to tell if it's like Daisy's been under the sway of Hive. Okay, but she pretty much just acts kind of the same way. It's just a different flavor of evil now. And I think that's, it's like, I don't care that Daisy's under the control of Hive. Again, it's hard for me. Before, at least, even, a couple episodes ago, I was still caring about the team. But at this point, I don't care about the team anymore. I think that's the problem. Like, it's less so that I'm not siding with any character. That is the case. But I think it's less that and more that I just don't care. Even going into this episode, I said, yeah, it's a good thing that we're saving their lives, though, and everything. And I don't want them to die. But I certainly don't care if they die anymore. There's just... There was at least a little bit before. But by the end of this episode... there's no one in the team I care about anymore, that I care if they live or die. Is there anybody? I don't think so. There's not a one. Not a one. And that sucks. It fucking sucks, but it is what it is. So, throughout this whole episode, we keep talking about, I can't believe there's no good option we have here. I can't believe there's no obvious path to take here, as Coulson was saying at the end of the episode, which is so ridiculous. There's such a clearly obvious path. What would I have done if I was in this situation? Well, I mean, I wouldn't be in this situation, but... So it's weird having to put myself in this, situation, because I would never let it get to this point. But, I would just never be in that organization. But, I mean, I would... After Malick had said, like, they're all, or, they could be under the sway of Hive and all that, then I would just be like, okay, let them do whatever they're doing. If they want to go home, let them go home. Whatever. We're S.H.I.E.L.D. Why is that a problem? We can just keep an eye on them. Like, again, I think it again goes into the whole thing of, people in the show acting like the Inhumans are very scary and a thing that should be feared, like with Fitz and Simmons talking about this episode, like how all the Inhumans could easily kill them, which so could almost every other like all the humans could do the exact same thing. Like they were all saying like, oh yeah, they could just kill us in our sleep so easy. Like May couldn't just walk up and snap your neck in your sleep. What are you talking about? It's so ridiculous. So I think that's what it stems from. Like, you know, they have this inherent fear towards the Inhumans that is ridiculous. So they do all this crazy shit that really they should have just let them go home, let them walk around the facility and do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. You're S.H.I.E.L.D. If the Inhumans are really, if 4 just random Inhumans are this big of a problem, then your organization is not good. You're supposed to be S.H.I.E.L.D. You're supposed to be S.H.I.E.L.D. And these 4 random Inhumans are going to cause you that much of a problem. That's a very big red flag. And man, this episode, if I didn't already despise Lincoln by last episode, he's definitely, I think, my most hated character in this entire show by now. I get it now. I didn't see it before. I think anybody that hated him from the beginning, it just had a hate boner out for him. But now I get the hate. Now I understand it. He is drinking that Flavor Aid hardcore. He is guzzling it down. He's taking that fucking giant sports thing of Flavor Aid and pouring it all over himself. It's insane. And I think what, you know, a lot that goes into it is his aggressiveness, his quick to aggression. What is the word for that? Can't remember. They talk about it all the time. But he's very quick to get mad, and so I think that his very aggressive nature ties into the S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. He was very against it, but now that he's a part of it, he's just ingrained himself into it so easily. So, okay, what name should I be going with for differentiating between Alveus/Hive and the collective of, you know, all of them? Because in the show, and, you know, in this discussion so far, they've been using Hive to sort of just, you know, talk about either one of them. You know, interchangeably they just use Hive. But, and that works for the show because, 1, they don't really care, you know, about the differentiation, and 2, it really doesn't matter, you know? If in a life or death situation, they do not need to distinguish between the two. But I do, in my discussions, I really need to be able to talk about the first Inhuman and be able to talk about the collective of all of them. So let me know in the comments what terms you would like me to use for specifically the first Inhuman. Should I use Alveus? Should I use Hive? And what should I use when talking about the collective of all of them? I posed like the Travelers, but you know, he's not just the Travelers, so I don't know exactly what to use. And like Hive is like Alveus means Hive, so like using Hive as the collective is weird because you know, but that's the weird thing, right? Like I guess they named him Hive, like they named him Alveus because of his powers, not because he was a Hive. So yeah, but either way, so maybe just like Alveus if I'm talking about the first Inhuman, and Hive if I'm talking about the collective. I think that makes the most sense. But yeah, interesting. And then what is the best word to use for the people who are under his sway? Like, how would I refer to Daisy being under the sway? Swayed Daisy? Swayedzy? I don't know. I'll come up with something, or you guys can come up with something for me. But yeah, so it was also very, would never have expected a couple episodes ago that Lucio would be the one dying here and Guerra would be Alveus' number 2. Like, if you told me that when Lucio was first introduced or when Guerra was first introduced, I would call you crazy. That's wild to me, but I really like it because Guerra's actor I think is much better than Lucio's. Lucio is a nice like stoic actor, but Guerra is actually pretty interesting in his acting. I was not expecting to be enjoying him as much as I am, but I'm curious what they're going to do with him. You know, if he's going to be more than just a, you know, being under the sway and everything. So why did, I guess we'll say Hive, why did Hive have Daisy kill Malick? Because he said specifically that he needs a Malick, and, you know, we have the Strucker kid alive, but that's not a Malick, so was he lying? Was it a change of plans? Was that Daisy acting on her own and not even under the sway? It's hard to say. I don't know. What is my guess? That he killed Malick because, like, the fact that he said he specifically needs a Malick, that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. Not why did he kill Daisy, but why did he say that he needed a Malick? What is my guess as to that? My guess for that is that, I guess it was just a change of plans, maybe. Malick gets captured and he goes, fuck it, maybe I don't want a Malick. I guess it could be that simple. It's kind of lame, but maybe that's just what it is. Also, this makes a lot more sense now that we know with all the sway stuff, like with the Kree designing Alveus that way as opposed to just being able to kill humans. Makes a lot more sense. And why he was the commander of the army specifically. Like, yeah, it wasn't just that he had, like, charisma or anything like that. He could literally be the commander of the Inhumans. Also, I did this episode misinterpret Daisy as being put under the sway at Transia, but no, that was from this episode when they were at the Hydra base and everything. Misinterpret that, sorry. But yeah, so it does seem also that Hive is not able to control dead Inhumans based off Lucio. His, wormy things are still inside there, but he's not able to actually control it. And he can only have one body at a time, it seems like. I thought, like, maybe instead of a sway, we were going to do a thing where he can split his body up, but no, that was not what we were going with. Now, Malick, this episode, got a lot of clarification on why he's been doing everything, blah, blah, blah. And it really is as simple as he was a believer. He truly, absolutely, 100% did believe bringing back Alveus would cause, or would bring him the power that he so desired. And even if he didn't fully understood what that meant, even if it took Alveus to tell him what he knew, like what he subconsciously knew he wanted, even if that's the case, he was just, it was this is the way things are. I have been brought up this way. This is the way my whole family's always been brought up. This is how we do things. And yeah, he really was just so ingrained into it from childhood and from his own stubbornness of wanting to, do the rock ritual way that he did it. Like that as well, his stubbornness in that fully, it's the very cult-like mentality of once you get in, then it's hard to get out because you have to admit to yourself that you were wrong for so long. It's a tough situation, and am I forgiving Malick for anything? No, because he's done plenty of stuff outside of the Hydra, everything like that is plenty bad. I mean, regardless of everything, he's a billionaire. Fuck him. But so I'm not trying to like sympathize, or I'm trying to empathize with him, not sympathize with him. It is interesting to see that he did, like, it did take the killing of his daughter for him to be like, oh shit, this ain't good. I shouldn't have done this. My whole life has been all for nothing. And I wonder, like, we didn't really get anything on it there at the end, but I wonder there at the end if he was regretting his Hydra ways or if he was just regretting his, how did I put this? I wonder if he was regretting Hydra in general and being a part of it and what he did there, or if he was regretting his way of being in Hydra. Like, was he just regretting the ritual stuff? Was he just regretting bringing back Alveus? Or was he regretting his whole life in Hydra? He didn't really touch on it. And knowing Malick, probably not. Probably just regretting bringing back Alveus and would be like, yeah, I still want to be a white supremacist. I just didn't want to bring back the guy who'd kill my daughter. But, yeah, it is fascinating seeing him break down like that. And, again, I have to commend him so much on being like, Daisy comes in the room and he's like, yeah, this is where I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die. And when he is getting killed, he's screaming so much, but good on him for, like, really going out like a boss. Like, damn. He really took it like a champ. And, as much as he is a shitty, awful piece of shit, hey, that was pretty cool. It was really cool to see a villain be like, this is my time. And he knew there was nothing he could do. So, yeah, at the end of this episode, where are we going to go going forward? I really hope that the entire base gets dismantled and we can at least have it be down for the rest of the season. Then we can start off season 4 and go, hey, we spent another couple $1 billion on this fucking new place again. And where is S.H.I.E.L.D. getting all this money? Like, they're not even a part of the government. I mean, they're ATCU now, but pre-ATCU, it's like, good God. We were kind of stealing some stuff for a while, but then we just jump into season 3 and we're just like, we just have all this stuff now. I don't know where the fuck we're getting all this shit. But I could say that, well, I mean, I know where Hydra's getting all this stuff. Hydra's got plenty of money. But yeah, it was really satisfying to see Daisy do that. If this place does actually go down. You know, where we're going with this, Daisy's going to be swayed, and she's gonna be fine because there's no permanent brain damage, and it's all gonna be hunky-dory and cool. And, you know, I don't really care much. Like, I would like for there to be, you know, some more serious consequences to S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything like that. Someone's gonna die in the whole rocket thing. It does seem like Daisy took all the Terrigen crystals out of the case, but there is other cases there. So, I don't know. Who's gonna die? It's seemingly like it might still be Elena. I don't know in what way, but that's the only one. The necklace feels like a misdirect, but at the same time, the more we get to it, the more we... They could kill Daisy, but I just don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Could just be Lincoln. Could be Lincoln. They could just be like, yeah, we don't want Lincoln in the show anymore. I don't know. Who else could it be? I mean, Daisy seems like it could. Daisy could just be like, yeah, we killed her off in season 3. Isn't that wild? I could definitely see them doing that. Like a big, like, hey, this is pretty crazy, isn't it? But, would they really? Season 3, would they really? No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. I'm guessing Elena. Still gonna be Elena. Anything else? Man, I'm sorry. This episode was fucking, like, just... It's the one where I feel like I talked a lot during it, but I guess not really that I talked a lot during it, but I feel like my reaction to almost everything in this episode was just wanting to punch myself in the face with both fists. You know, there's so many more lines I could bring up, but it's just my response was just, boy, that really makes me want to punch myself in the face with both fists. The whole scene where they were being surrounded in the hallway and they were trying to be talked to like it was a normal situation, and the whole May bringing up the tear gas that they were gonna throw in there, like, oh my god. Hopefully Joey and Elena leave S.H.I.E.L.D. permanently for good. Permanently. I hope that happens. It would be really nice. But don't think that's gonna happen. Don't think it's gonna happen. Oh man, this episode fucking. This episode I don't think was good. Like, even again, as a whodunit episode, I don't think it was good. I think this episode fell flat. It just was not. It was very 2x or 3x13 to me, where it's just like, I don't know. It kind of didn't really perform that well for me. Yeah, I guess that's it. I do think. I really like the acting in this episode. I will say that. You know, as much as I dislike these characters at this point, well, yeah, I would say I dislike these characters at this point. I would say that, you know what, the vast majority of the people on S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't even like them as characters anymore, which is why I was saying I'm so uninterested. But, yeah, I think their actors are really, really good at the very least. That's it. See you guys for the next one. Till then, get the fuck out of here.